Hello and welcome. My name is Danielle. I'll be your host as we discuss Pillars of Light, Stories of Goddess Activations. Today, we have a very special guest with us, Michelle Lopez. She's a co author in the upcoming series of Pillars of Light, Stories of Goddess Activations. Welcome, Michelle. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you. Well, I'm excited to have you back. I know that we just recently had a conversation with the prior book that was released recently, Awakening Starseeds Volume 2. So we're really excited to have you for the next Pillars of Light. And I know we kind of briefly went over this, but would you mind telling us a little bit more about yourself and your background?
Okay. I'm an elementary school teacher. I'm a holistic healer and I'm a yoga instructor. So I teach yoga in the classroom with children, and I teach here in my park that I live right by here in the town that I live in.
That's awesome. And you're in California, correct?
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm out in the Midwest and the weather's been phenomenal. So I would love to have you local if you were, but you got to do what you got to do in the off season.
Yeah.
Yeah, but can you tell everybody before we dive into the book a little bit, can you tell everybody what the word goddess means to you?
Goddess. Okay. Well, goddess is the feminine essence that we all embody. So if you look at it from an energetic standpoint, we have two main channels within our actual bodies or energetic bodies. It's often called the Ida and the Pingala.
Okay.
And so we are made up of masculine and feminine. So it's just an acknowledgement that what we are, the embodiment, is has a feminine aspect to it. And our world doesn't necessarily acknowledge that feminine aspect of self or God.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at nature and the way things are created, you can't deny it because it's very much a part of who we are. We have right and a left brain. We have the heart and the mind. We have sympathetic and parasympathetic, right? We have two aspects to ourselves. If you even want to get into the physiology, we have insulin and cortisol. So you see that there's a duality to us.
Mm-hmm.
So the goddess is the feminine essence of who we are. So we aren't just God, but we are God and goddess.
Yes.
And even in spiritual traditions, it would if you're looking from a Christian tradition, it would be Holy Spirit. Shakti. It's the Shakti force. And we all embody it. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. We have these aspects of self.
I love that. I love how you describe that. That's pretty interesting. And I think a lot of people will learn by just having heard that through you. So when Radha met with you and had the activation, what goddess appeared before you? And did she appear prior to your session?
Yeah. Oh, good question about that. Yeah. So the goddess that we worked with was Green Tara. Mm-hmm. And Green Tara is from the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. And she did actually show up for me prior to the session. And at that time when she showed up, I had no idea why. I didn't make that connection until after Radha and I had decided to do the goddess activation. So I actually have her right here, this little Green Tara statue here. And I usually have her over on my little altar over there. And I have a beveled crystal that sits right next to her. And this crystal is when the sun shines through the window, the crystal usually fractalizes and it makes these lights or rainbows and different colors on the wall. That particular day, the sun was shining through, and the green fractal just the one coming through that crystal, and it was so incredibly bright, and it just caught my attention. And she was right next to it, the Green Tara that I have.
Wow.
I was like, wow, I just felt like she was winking at me. Like to call those winks, she was winking at me, and I was very moved by it. And I really felt her presence and her energy and her connecting with me. But, I kind of put that aside and forgot about it. And when, when the opportunity for the goddess activation came, and we were trying to, think about like the god, and I was, goddesses do I resonate with, thinking like that. I was thinking about how Green Tara showed up for me. And to me, it was like, there's so many things about Green Tara that are amazing to me. That she has so many different embodiments and aspects to her. And to me, she was like the blending of like all the goddesses that I really, look to. So
Wow,
anyway.
that's so beautiful. I like hearing that because it's something I'm seeing a theme in common when Radha does sessions for the goddess activations. A lot of the times the women are connecting prior to the activation. So the energy is already there, the archetype. And that's what's so phenomenal, that you were able to see that right before your activation. So I think that's truly a gift from the divine. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. So, people would probably think when they hear goddess activations, oh, it's something kind of fluffy and cute. And it is to a degree. But what people need to realize and don't understand until you have the session. So, in your case, you have had it. And
Yeah.
what you've realized is that Radha's really good at getting to the root of what's going on. And in some cases, you have, energetic divorce, persecution issues that you're clearing as far as timelines, energy clearing. I mean, there's a whole list. So, what would you say to someone who's yet to have this experience or just now be exposed for the first time to this type of work? What would you say your experience was like for you personally, and what was going on during your session?
Okay. Um, I kind of see what people might think about the whole fluffy and cute part, because when we're talking about the goddesses, what we're talking about is the archetypes, right? So we're looking
Mhm.
at the pantheon that exists within the cosmos, within the great mystery. And if we haven't connected on an energetic level, they're just mind archetypes, right? They're
Right.
archetypes of the mind, right? So we can look at it and go, oh, okay, oh, that's nice. That's lovely, like, what I wanted people to understand and to put it in perspective is that it's not just an archetypal sort of stereotype, although those archetypes give us a template to work
Mhm.
from. Okay. So there's a couple things happening here. One is the template that they are here to help us with. They set a template. And so by us following that, we can get a teaching. We learn. These are aspects of our higher self. Okay. But when you connect on an energetic level, that is another story. Okay. So when you're connecting on an energetic level, then you are coming into some embodiment of that archetype. Or it's like, you could look at like soul medicine. It's the medicine that your soul needs.
Mm.
Okay. And so during my session with the Green Tara energy, I was really happy with this goddess, because I felt like that was the soul medicine that I needed. So
Mm.
connecting energetically that way was very activating to me. And I hope I'm answering your question fully, because I know it was a pretty big question, a loaded question. But you wanted to know about, what happened during the session. Is that the
Yeah, a
last
little
part?
bit.
Remind me.
Yeah, a little bit what they potentially could experience, but also what you experienced. And because everybody's
Yes.
going to have a different, but I
Yeah.
like how you explained the template, because that's very much the case. And then energetically, of course, we're, you know,
Yeah.
tapping in.
We ourselves are templates. So even us as just ordinary humans, we are creating templates for future people who will ascend. We are
Mm.
teachers to future generations. So I just want to
Right.
make that clear. And so that is the role of the goddesses here. But during my session, the Green Tara energy was really necessary, because what we determined was that I had built up some walls around my heart. And because of these walls, it's been really hard for me to at times feel that vulnerability, which I know is so much a part of like who I really am. Like that vulnerability can be seen as weakness, but vulnerability is actually really a strength. And that's what it's really working on in me, is opening me up to that vulnerability, which I'm calling original innocence. And in my story, in my goddess story for the book, that's what I talk about, is the original innocence. And when I talk about original innocence, what I'm talking about is what our soul, the purity of the soul, what the soul essence was like before we came into this reincarnation grid, this reincarnation cycle. We were just pure essence. We were innocent and pure and much more light, not dense, right? But like if you look at like ancient Lemuria, like it was just a very feminine expression, very fluid, very soft and gentle and lovely, but then we fell in our density. And that's, then war came into the picture, war came into our nature. And then even as, other versions of Lemuria had to fight during the, these other falls. So we've been through so many, our planet has been through so many, changes.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
So,
I mean, yeah.
So I know I got pretty deep there, but basically that session opened me back up to my my vulnerability and my innocence. And so it's like paving the way for me to take that journey back again, before all the reincarnation cycles, right? And all the pain of life or whatever, we've been through, as souls, we've been through a lot. Yeah. So that's what it opened up for me. And boy, do I still have a ways to go, but at least I'm taking the journey now. It's taking that step.
Yeah, you're definitely putting in the work. And then you're just so good anyway with bringing the, even though you say the vulnerability is something you are opening up to, just the little time that I've known you, the fact that you work with children and just, getting an opportunity to get to know you a little bit, I see that strength. I see that as a strength, and I see that in you already, even though you probably think you have the wall. I'm like, what a beautiful, openness, that vulnerability just allows your heart to expand. And I already see that in you.
Oh,
yeah. But that's awesome. I love it. It's such a nice like growth, spurt for you. That's cool.
Yeah, green Tara just has such that beautiful, energy. And she's not just the green fractal, but she's like the whole rainbow.
So, and I like, you gave me a really good visual when, because I have one of those too. When the sun hits, it just shines everywhere. And then the green one just like, I mean, that's like total. How can you not notice that? See, that's the thing. That's the magic in life. And sometimes when people are like, what do you mean magic? I'm like, that is an example of magic. You just have to be aware and open to it, because it's so subtle. It comes to you like little whispers.
Yes. Yeah, spirit is subtle. Yeah. And if something comes to you, hard, sometimes it's not necessarily the right thing.
Yeah.
So it's it's subtle and gentle, and you almost might miss it if you don't capture it. If you don't.
Right. Oh, don't second question it too, Yeah, that's another thing. But we could go down the rabbit hole.
We totally could.
This is fun. I love diving deep, so we could do this anytime you want. So since your goddess activation, what are some of the shifts in your life that you've noticed and how it's helped you?
Well, okay, so it's like, let's go back to it's not a fluffy thing, because when this activation happened, I'm already like stepping across the bridge. Okay.
Okay.
So when I say stepping across the bridge, I mean, we're in an ascension process right now, and we are making our shift from third density to fourth density. And for me, I've been working through some ancestral energies as I'm walking across this bridge, and there's a few things coming in trying to shake it up. So, so this activation has come right at this pivotal time. And when a few days after the activation happened, I sort of went through this purging process where I just became a little bit unhinged. And I thought I had been really holding it together and keeping it together. And there was just a flood of emotions that came out of me that I didn't see coming. I never could have predicted it. And what it made me realize is that Green Tara was activating me towards more self-love. And there was almost like a bit of fierceness to it too. So the thing about Green Tara, or Tara in general, is that she has other expressions. And I think there's 21 expressions of Tara. And one of her expressions is like Kali and Durga. So if you look at the those, Vedantic goddesses, Kali and Durga, they're fierce, and so a little bit of that showed up. And so that took me by surprise. So it was a lot of purging and clearing. And I've been a little tender and feeling a little raw since then. And I've been going through not just the emotional changes, but the physical changes as well. Okay. So it required me to have a lot of days of rest where I needed to just integrate what kind, we talked about the layers of the onion before. Yes. When we did the Starseeds interview, but literally I've been shedding off more and more layers of the onion. And now it's like, it almost feels physical. Like there's physical layers being released.
Yeah.
Old energies from the body. And I've been doing a little cleansing simultaneously with this process. So it's sort of added to it. So it's been some work. And so I'm not, if you're thinking of getting a goddess activation, it could be, just the magic part. But honestly, it's been a lot of really digging in deep, like going in there, a little bit like psychic surgery in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I've been. Oh, go on.
Oh, no, I was going to say that's great, because that's a good example, because a lot of the work that you do, it does, because we live in a body. Our body is our vessel, and these codes and on the activations, it's like, changing you as an individual. We're ascending with our body. It's part of the process. What they call it, crystallization of the body or something like that.
Yes, we're moving from carbon DNA to crystalline DNA.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
And so, in order for us to hold that energetic essence, the physical body has to go through a releasing of density, right? And so sometimes that process requires us to get quiet and to get, maybe rest more, or to, work on our diet or whatever it is. So, all these things have been happening simultaneously for me. And so what I think it's done is it's giving me some courage to continue and walking across that bridge and completing this process. So I'm gonna, like all of us are in this state of becoming. The state of becoming never ends. We're always in a state of becoming. This is just another stage of that becoming. And so for me, it's been a lot of releasing, a lot of having the courage to continue with the journey. It almost feels like energetic pregnancy, like I'm about to give birth.
Yeah.
And so when you're at that 9th month of pregnancy, you get really tired and you need to rest. and you need to integrate what's about to come. And energetically, that's how I have felt. So
I
compare it to that.
understand.
It's like soul birthing, soul
Oh.
midwifery.
Oh, I like that. That's awesome. I bet you
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to Google that and see if anybody is. No,
Yeah.
that's exactly how it
Yeah.
feels, I mean, I've
Yeah.
never given birth, as to a human, but I have given birth to creative endeavors. And sometimes, I had a session too with Radha, so I relate to what you're saying about the
Yeah.
integration, the being exhausted at some points. And I'm thinking, I guess I'll take a nap. It's what I need. And then I am like good for a little while. And then I have these moments of aha, like realization, or,
Yeah.
it's a very deep soul journey, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I really like how you explained that. That was really cool.
Yeah.
What inspired you to be a pillar of light?
Oh, this is I love this part. Pillar of light. When I first saw this whole Pillar of Light project, I had a couple first reactions. And the first one was I felt this stirring in the heart chakra. And it felt like an immediate stirring. And I was like, oh, this is a heart thing. Like this is a really great heart healing. Felt that immediately. And the next thing was I sort of had this sort of like vision of all these goddesses coming together and creating a portal of an opening.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So when each of these pillars, like almost like a human crystal grid, where each goddess is holding that energy, that particular part of the grid, and it's creating this divine sort of opening and portal for us to continue into the next stage of this ascension. And so when all of us come together like that, it's powerful, super powerful. So that was something that I just saw as being like the aha of this all. And I was like, yeah, this is something I would definitely love to be a part of. So
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, I
yeah,
love that.
yeah.
Gosh, thank you for sharing that. Gosh, because this is a great testament to the vulnerability that you're
Mhm.
exuding, because this is personal, but it's not, because we're here to help humanity. So you
Yeah,
sharing that, it's quite personal, but it's also like very much needed for people to realize, yes, I have these feelings, I have these thoughts for a reason. And I'm glad that you shared that, because that just blew my mind. Wow.
yeah. We're creating this human bridge for this divine feminine energy to come in and continue to heal the planet.
Yeah.
And so my first uh, reaction or vision of this was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I would definitely want to be a part of it. We all came together for this purpose. So it's bigger than just like our individual activations.
Yeah.
It's a connection of all these
So
women
divinely
holding and
tied.
anchoring out in the human form, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah,
you
it's
make me
yeah.
cry.
Oh,
No, but in a good way. I'm just like, wow. Yeah, because I feel it. I feel you. And yeah, we need
yeah,
this.
we do. It's exciting, and these are exciting times we're in. And
Yeah.
there's just so much that we can create together, and you know many light workers come together for different purposes. They do grid work, they do all kinds of, and this is just another one of those just beautiful energetic openings that we have created. So
Well, thank you for being a part of that.
yeah.
What do you feel your soul purpose is in this lifetime? I feel like I already know, but you can go ahead and
Well, it's never just one. There's always a few, and one of them is to be a bridge between heaven and earth, right? Between spirit and matter. And so doing bridge work
Mhm.
is not the easiest light worker mission, because bridge work will take you into the dark places or the dense places. I don't know if dark's the right word, but just our physical existence here on earth is dense. Okay. It's one of the densest existences in the universe. So, and sometimes what calls us into bridge work is being out in there, being in the trenches, being the boots on the ground that are doing the heavy lifting, right? And so, but when we go through awakening, then we can start reaching for that bringing that spirit and bridging it down. So, initially, my first reaction was to just depart from this world of matter and to just go off grid and to, sort of escape and depart and get away from all the dense stuff. But as time went on, I realized that I'm more effective, I think, if I continue to stay present and help and be a bridge for everybody, not just connecting with people who are like of like mind, but just everybody in the world is important.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for saying that, because I kind of feel like I'm at the point where I'm like, I kind of want to retreat, but at the same time, I also want to be of service, but I also want to take care of myself. So I kind of relate to what, that stage of what you went through. So
the retreat part is necessary. We do have to do it, make a departure, but we have to come back. So I see what you're saying. Because we have to find ourselves. That's that soul journey I talked about in the Awakening Starseeds. But then we come back because we've integrated a lot of that stuff. All of it's important, all of it. And if people want to go, live somewhere off grid or go, that's awesome. We can create whatever we want,
right?
And it really is unique to your mission. What is your mission? So this is just what's working for me right now. I might get called to do something else, but that's one mission. And then, I'm also clearing a lot of ancestral stuff. So that's another really important one. So those two things are really
beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited for everyone to read your chapter. Do you recommend individuals who might be listening reaching out to Rada Publishing House and working with them? What would you say your overall experience was, having had an opportunity to now be a part 2 books? So I'm sure you have a lot of good things to say, but for someone who's not familiar and they have a story they want to share or a testimony of some sort, and they're looking for someone to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'm going to say like kind of what I said in the last interview that you and I did, is that you can't go wrong as far as if you have a story you want to share. If you decide to go with this platform, you're going to get a healing, whether you're planning or intending it or not, and that alone is of great value. So, because that's going to have a ripple effect in the unseen world. Anytime we speak and use our voices, we are sharing that template of experience that I was telling you about earlier. So each human has a template, right? We're showing our creativity as humans and how we can do this ascension process. Okay. We are co-creating with Source. So it could be part of your co-creation journey. So, and you'll meet great people. So I think it's a good experience, and I would definitely encourage anybody to do it who's interested.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time today, and I look forward, like I said, to everyone reading your chapter. We'll be sure to link your information down below, and so if anybody wants to get a hold of Michelle, you can. And of course, we'll link Rada Publishing House down in the bio below. And again, thank you, Michelle, for your time and energy and love that you're pouring out to the world, and your beautiful vulnerability. I love it.
Thank you. You're welcome.
So I honor that in you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Have a good rest of your night. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.